Joining me now, Miranda Khan. She's got a new show that starts on the John Fredericks Radio Network, 12 to 1 p.m., 5 days a week, daily. News On with Miranda Khan. She's also part of America Voice News. You can download their free app after you do mine. Go to americasvoicenews.com. She's also on The Dish, Channel 219, and many other platforms. And she's with us now. We're looking forward to a show starting on Wednesday. Here, she's been on for a couple months with AVM. Miranda, great to have you with us.
Oh, thank you so much. Such a pleasure and honor to be with you.
We're fired up about your show at noon. We were really looking for something at noon to better engage our listeners. I think you're it. And tell us about your show, how you came up with the idea, and because I've heard it's been tremendously successful in a very short period of time.
Oh, well, thank you so much for those kind remarks. I have to give a lot of the credit to our president of programming, Dr. Gina. She's wonderful. She reached out to me to have me become a part of the American Voice family, and I'm so thrilled. I'm loving every minute of it. We actually discussed it together, what kind of program this would be, and we really wanted to kind of get back to the basics of old school journalism. Can you imagine? That's our main goal, is to get back to real news and to not so much dictate to people how they should think or feel about certain topics, but to give them something to think about and let them form their own opinion. And some of the things that are really instrumental to this show is that we don't want it to be an echo chamber. I know a lot of times I hear people commenting that one network focuses completely on the left, the other one focuses completely on the right. We're hoping to find some middle ground here and, again, not make it an echo chamber. So, like, for example, today we're going to have somebody on who's a Democrat, and we're going to have somebody on who's a Republican, and we're going to, have them weigh in on issues that matter to Americans. But we're not going to stop there. We're also going to have Americans weighing in as well. Something that we're trying to do that other networks aren't doing is we're giving Americans a voice, giving them a platform so they can comment about certain issues that matter to them. So that's kind of what's instrumental about our show.
So how do you do that? Like, if typically on radio you take call-ins, that's how people can engage.
Right.
But you're part of a TV network, so how do you make that happen?
Well, we're very much a part of social media, as are many people. So that's one way that people can comment. They can reach out to me personally on social media or on the America Voice News platforms. We're all over. We're on Instagram. We're on Facebook. We're on Twitter. We're on Parlay. We're on CloudHub, LinkedIn, you name it. So those are some of the ways that people can reach out to us. But they can also, something that's really cool about our website that I just love, and we're continuing to develop it, but we actually have our own social media platform. It's called The Community. So people can go to americasvoice.news and they can actually join our community and submit their comments there. And so we have a segment dedicated completely to that. And our goal is to not just make it a segment, but feature comments and questions throughout the entire show. Because
so
a lot of people just feel like their opinions are being silenced.
You want live interaction, basically. So you'll be interviewing guests, talking about the news. See, I love the format of your show because I am so sick and tired of, I'm not a Fox fan. I'm not a Sean Hannity fan. Everybody knows that. It's not interesting to me. It's so boring. He's going to say the same thing that's been said all day by the other echo chamber. I get nothing out of it. It's a snooze fest. I mean, I want somebody that's going to come on at noon like yourself, and I want to hear Democrats and Republicans. I want to hear Trump v. Biden. I want to hear the issue on this side, the issue on that side, and then I want the news. And that's what I want at noon. I mean, that's what you're not going to get right. That's what we're not delivering at noon right now. And I love the idea of running this at 12 o'clock because you're in your car, you're, maybe going to lunch or whatever. You got a couple of minutes. You want a quick update. You don't want the same thing. And I think that's the fresh approach that you bring to the table. And obviously you've got a conservative perspective. Everybody knows where I stand, but it doesn't mean that you can't have open dialogue and civil discussion. If I can't have a discussion...
I'm so glad you said that. I'm so glad you said that.
Elaborate.
It's just, that's exactly, you are echoing the sentiment that I am hearing from viewers on, again, both sides of the aisle and everything in between. They are tired of feeling like they can't voice their opinion and people can't debate in a civil manner. And that's what I'm hoping we can achieve. Because that's how we get results. That's how we learn. That's how progress is actually made. So I'm so glad you said that.
Well, this is the thing. You can't even, look, even if you're doing this for partisan reasons, okay? I'm Trump chairman delegation of Virginia, right? So I'm involved in the Virginia campaign. If I don't know what the other side is thinking and I can't have a rational discussion with them on the air or privately, how can you possibly go forward and decide how to be successful? I mean, you got to be able to have a dialogue, and you got to be able to have relationships with people that you don't agree with, just so you can understand their perspective. And so that is what's always frustrated me about the business that we're in. Look, I know what my audience is. It's Trump supporters and conservative, but we have Democrats and liberals on all the time, and we've proven it could be interesting, informative, entertaining, and respectful. And you don't have to be screaming at each other or threatening each other like it's happening in the street right now. You can just have a civil dialogue, and that's how you educate, inform, engage, right?
Mm-hmm.
And there's not enough of that.
Yeah, well, I'm glad that you do that, and that is definitely our goal. Is to do that, educate, inform, have civil discussion with opposing, viewpoints, and to give a platform again where people feel like their voice matters, and they can talk freely. And I'm not going to sit there and badger them or criticize them. I just want them to be able to say whatever is on their mind.
Right. You don't want to do gotcha, because that and you don't want fake news. So I love what you're doing. That's why I'm so excited about you starting on Wednesday, News On with Miranda Khan, and she's going to be starting on Newsday. I got a text here from Nick in Virginia Beach who says that's a tough ask to go up against Rush. Well, so what, right? He has his audience. We don't carry him on our network. I'm on 8 stations. We don't carry him. Right now on those stations is Dennis Prager, okay? Snooze fest. So it's not like I'm replacing Rush Limbaugh with Miranda. I'm replacing Dennis Prager with Miranda Khan, okay? So let's be honest. It's not like we're saying, hey, we're taking Limbaugh off and putting you on. He's not on our station anyway. So that's why I think it's a good move for us, and I think you're going to be very, very successful. Like, for instance, on your show today, give us kind of an overview of that, Miranda.
Well, like I mentioned, we're going to have a Democrat and a Republican on. We try to have a panel, and we try as hard as we possibly can to not make it an echo chamber, because I'm, totally agree with you. I find it very boring when you just have, let's say 2 Republicans on, and just saying, yeah, I agree, I concur. What he just said, it was amazing. I want to hear, I want to hear a little debate. So, that's what we're going to do today. I'm excited about that. We're also, obviously, as you know, the president's kind of been on defense, following a couple reports. Of course, the most recent one from The Atlantic, again, one that, as far as to my knowledge, has not been verified by any other media outlet. Nonetheless, everyone's reporting on it, and that report is suggesting that the president gave some disparaging remarks in regards to soldiers that were killed on a battlefield in France. The president is vehemently denying that report. So we're going to have our panel weigh in on this. And, of course, we want to hear from our viewers what they think. And this, of course, comes out just a week earlier. There was another report. Again, sources were not revealed. This was just one report alleging that the president went for a hospital visit, which was anything but routine. The president attacking that report last night during a Pennsylvania rally, saying, they said I had many strokes. This is fake news. This is not what happened. So that's something, again, that we're trying to battle against. I'll be honest with you, I'm almost one of those people where I would rather not have to do stories like that, because personally I grew up in I sound so old right now, but I grew up in the days where you had to have, multiple sources in order to run a report.
That was when you did real journalism.
Right.
Miranda, come on. That's when you and I did real journalism. When if you had
real journalism, when
I ran a newspaper, and we had occasionally you'd have to run sources that didn't want to talk on the record. But I had to have a physical file. I had to have the tape there. I had to have the name. It was under lock and key. Only we knew where it was, but I had to see that. I had to see the guy's handwriting or before we let any of that stuff run. Now it's like you just make up people, find people to do your narrative. Miranda, I want to thank you. I'm looking forward to your show. News On with Miranda Khan on the John Fredericks Radio Network, starting 12 o'clock to 1 on Wednesday. Miranda, thanks for being with us. It's been
thank
fabulous.
You. Really looking forward to
Wednesday.
This collaboration. Yes, thank you so much. Enjoy your Labor Day weekend.